Hello, humans of YouTube. Welcome to the Carl Stacey Guitar Tuition Offices, also known as the Thoughts and Motion HQ. Today, we are going to be bringing you a video about how not to be a fucking loser. Now, this applies to life, it applies to in your relationship, it applies to basically everything that you are. So, Carl.
Yep.
Let's do it.
Let's get in it.
So to start off this video, we want to go into a little bit of a short detail on what exactly we figure a loser is. So basically what we think a loser is someone that literally is at the bottom of the food chain. Someone who doesn't have, no drive in life, the spark's gone from their eyes. They're just not all there, and they kind of feel like, you kind of look at them and you think, life's just beat this person down.
Yeah.
So, and the reason we think this, the reason we know this is because we used to be those guys, right? So, for many years, I definitely felt like a loser. Like, I didn't have any direction in life. I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't have any passion. And I think, for me, it was just, I just wanted to kind of sit and stew in my own self-pity, as it were. I don't know, what's your take on?
For me, it's kind of a slightly different spin. So almost, to me, it's if I look back to a certain kind of time period of my life, say core teenage years, being in school, high school, all those kinds of things. I think at the time, I didn't really feel like a loser, because I've always had like a massive self-esteem when it comes to things like that. I didn't really feel like a loser, even if I was bullied or any of these other things happened. I never really felt like a loser, truly. But when I actually look back on those times now, and I know what I know now, and I know all the values and all of those kinds of things that I live by now, and I look back at that, I think, God damn, I was a little bit of a loser, wasn't I? So that's kind of the background that I come from was kind of that stereotype of a loser in school, in high school. I just didn't really feel like it at the time due to such kind of high self-esteem, which is weird because most losers, we were talking, don't have a high self-esteem. But that's just kind of my background and my position on that. Yeah,
because then you've also got the losers who are aware that they're a loser, and then you have the also losers that are so deluded that they believe that they are a fucking genius, they're a god amongst men.
I think that was me.
And then, it's Carl's
That's probably still me.
But you know that delusional, like, I'm the shit, but really they just sell drugs off the street corner, and that's like the life.
And no one really likes them.
And everyone just likes them because they can take stuff from them, basically.
Yeah.
So the first point I want to raise is that in order to not be a loser, you have to learn decisiveness and how to commit. So, and I don't just mean commit to like a relationship or whatever, I mean genuinely commit to something, because you tend to find a lot of people that bounce from place to place. Some of them aren't really looking for something like to fit in, they're just looking for the next thing that'll make them feel good for a while before they leave and move on to something else.
Definitely.
But the main focus here is decisiveness. So if you have so a good example is this from my own experiences. I went to college. So my entire college decision to go and study in college, what I was going to study, was based upon what my teachers told me.
Yeah.
It was based upon what my parents said would be good for me. And I really felt in that moment that I wasn't in charge. Sure, I was young, but I didn't feel like I was in charge. So that whole scenario wasn't my decision, but it was. Because if I said I don't actually want to go to college, it would have been fine.
But you felt like it wasn't your decision.
Yeah, but I felt like I was just at the whim of everyone else. So the power of decisiveness really means that you make the decisions in your life, be it for the better or the worse. But at least you've made that decision and you are willing to face the consequences. So it's almost like having that confidence in yourself to say, you know what, this may be good, this may be bad, but it's a decision that I'm going to make, and I want to make it.
I think the point of that is like if there's something that you want to or need to change in order to not be a loser, You need to take control and power of that situation, make the decision to say, no, I'm not going to do this, I'm going to do that. And then you'll overcome this wall of loserness.
The wall of loserness.
The wall of loserness, right? You need to get from point A to point B, from being a loser to not being a loser, with this wall bang right in the middle of it. And that's the first step, that's the first thing, making decisions and taking control and being in control of your own decisions.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of talk about, you know, I'm not in this position because of such and such. I chose to do this because such and such said so.
Yeah.
Or they said this and these said that and this happened, and it's like the power of decisiveness is a responsibility. It's a responsibility for you to take charge of your life, because in the words of Gary Vaynerchuk, you're 100% in fucking charge of your life.
It's true.
And it's like, that's true, that's fact. You are 100% in charge of your life, unless you look.
Whether you know that or you feel that or not, it's true.
It's like, I am in charge of what I do next. I am in charge of whether I quit my job or not. Like, the consequences don't matter. It's the fact that you have to make the decision for you. You are in charge of that decision. That's literally it. If you realize that you are in charge of your life, all these external people, external factors, they're all, you know, they do influence your decision, but they're not the final call. You are the final call in your life. Yeah. And you will always be a loser if you're at the whim of everyone else. So if you're at the whim of all your friends, if you're at the whim of your parents especially, because everyone wants to please their parents.
It's true.
But parents don't always have the best intentions in mind, and teachers and lecturers, whatever. If you're always at their whim, you're still a loser.
Almost very closely related to being a pushover.
Yeah.
I feel. Because obviously if you're watching this and you think about what a loser is, a lot of the time you would think about the person who gets bullied, the pushover, just agrees to things or just goes along with things. And that's what that is. And the reason that they get pushed over and that they go along with all of these things is because they don't have the ability to take those decisions and be in control. So the next step to not being a loser is knowing your personal values. This is something that I truly believe in, because if you don't have something that you value in your life, you're going to feel like a loser. If you don't value your hygiene, your health, whether it's mental or physical, you're going to look, feel, smell, and be a loser, essentially. Yeah,
so it's like, if you, the people that you admire the most, like, take someone like Mark Wahlberg. The most random example I could think of in that moment, right? Mark Wahlberg, for example, right? He's been in a lot of movies. He started in a band as well. Like, that's where he originally started.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I learned that in the video.
with his brothers, I think. Yeah. So
Crazy.
Mark Wahlberg is a good example of someone who has such a strong personal value that they're such a boss.
Yeah.
Right. If you watch his, I can't remember the movie he was in where he's a boxer. I think it was with Christian Bale, I believe, and he had to get in such ripped shape. His value was, he valued that part so much. He valued his body that he has looked after himself for years. He's had a six-pack since he was like 23 or something like that, right? And his value is his fitness, his health, basically. And because of that, you look at him and you realize you respect that guy's values.
Yeah.
You see that he values that, and that makes you appreciate him more.
To kind of bring a little bit of personal life into it as well, I think we were talking about at the very beginning of the video, feeling like a loser, coming from that background earlier on in life. I think part of the reason when I look back now that was the case for me is because of these things. So I didn't really have or know what to value at the time. I didn't have like a career to focus on. I didn't have like necessarily like a job or anything to really focus on. Obviously I was still playing guitar and doing music at the time, and I was a skinny dude, you know, I've always been a skinny dude. But like coming out of school and going through like kind of growing up and going through the life processes and realizing that I was a little bit of a loser, I decided to take those steps, those decisions from the last point to start going to the gym, to take care of my body, to take care of that value that means something to me, to then also start reading books and looking into Buddhism and meditation, which was the mental health side of things. So I started to look into these aspects of things I've never looked into before. And then obviously my career took a massive kind of step forward, and I valued that a whole lot more. It was a whole lot more important to me. All of a sudden around me I had all these values. And then obviously I was in a long-term relationship eventually as well, and then that's another value that means a whole lot to me. And so I have all these things that I value now that to me, I couldn't possibly feel or see myself as a loser anymore, because I have nothing to be a loser for, whereas I did back in kind of high school or whatever. But I think the point is that if you don't have something that you value, you're going to feel like a loser, whether it's any of the things we've just mentioned, mental, physical, hygiene, all of these kinds of things. You must have something to focus on, something that you value that means something to you.
Yeah, because losers really don't care about anything. Like, if you were going to pick from the bottom of the loser pile, they don't care about what they look like. They don't care about what they smell like. They don't care about the clothes that they wear. They don't care about what goes on in their life.
Almost everything and anything.
It's almost like just living to get from A to B.
Yeah.
Literally, like you look at, like, say, an alcoholic or whatever, things like that. People that are just such in the self-pity that they only value, like, the sort of, like the things that temporarily make them feel better. Whereas someone who's, not a loser, for example, I don't even know what we would call, like a winner, for example, like, call them a winner. Someone who's a real winner is someone who values themselves, someone who values what goes on in their life, someone who knows what they appreciate and want from their life.
I think that's the reason that most of society and most people in the world look to role models in celebrities and entrepreneurs and millionaires, because they have so much value, and it almost comes off them as like an aura almost. That you look through these magazines or you go through this website and you see them and you read about them and you look into them and you think, that's amazing, I want to be like them. But realistically, all it takes to be like them is to have those same core values and to actually do something about them, do something with them.
Yeah, so what you need to do if you don't want to be a loser, find what you value out of life and go for it. Find something that gives your life a meaning, a purpose, some sort of value, something that you can just say, you know what, this is me, this is what I value in life. Like, I value my abs, I value this career, I value this beautiful woman that I choose to marry. Like, something that gives your life a sense of value and something that you can appreciate and enjoy about life.
True.
Okay, so point number 3, do things to grow your confidence. So you tend to find that winners have very high self-esteem, very high confidence, and it's because they've put themselves in situations that have allowed that confidence to flourish. So, for example, myself, like, one of my earliest memories of actually trying to grow my confidence is when I did the skydive. And there's actually, if you go back through the YouTube videos, there's actually a video with that clip of me jumping out of a plane in it. And that was really scary, but I came away from that, and you kind of, something inside you, when you go into a new situation or something that makes you feel uncomfortable, something inside you flicks back to that memory and says, you know what, compared to that, this is nothing. And the more of these memories that you have and accumulate through putting yourself through tough situations, it gets easier and easier, and you feel, sometimes you don't even notice that your confidence has grown. Sometimes it's just other people say, wow, you know what, you're a lot more confident than you were now. You know what I mean? I remember there was a girl that started working in the restaurant with us like a few years ago, and she was just cleaning the tables, making the desserts, whatever. And if you put her in front of a customer that was like, angry about something or upset, she'd probably cry herself. She'd be like, she had no confidence in speaking to people.
Experienced it.
And now she could pretty much run the restaurant, like, within the space of 2 years. And she probably doesn't, she's never mentioned this, like, you know what, back then I was like this. It's everyone else that notices it before you do.
Yeah, definitely. I think the problem is that with being a loser, and if you are a loser, is that, again, it always comes back to, I feel like, the first point, which is taking control and making the decisions, because they struggle to do the steps that it takes and the things that it takes to actually build the confidence. So they're constantly stuck here and they can't move from here to be a more confident individual, to then not be a loser anymore.
Yeah, it's a roll of baby steps, really. It's like, if you decide to throw yourself in the deep end, you're going to panic and probably drown. Really, in confidence-wise, anyway. Like, it'll just make you feel so uncomfortable that you won't ever want to do anything again. So it's not a case of, like, throw yourself out of a plane like I did. Although that worked for me, if you are further down the confidence scale, let's say, then you need to slowly baby step it until you feel comfortable doing great leaps like that.
Yeah, it's like, say if you're a one of these computer game losers, and you're
Video
stuck,
game nerds with my anorak.
and you're stuck in the house. I'm just thinking of that stereotype right now, literally.
Yeah.
And you're stuck in the house, and you just play games. That's all you do. A step to get out of that would be to say, okay, I'm going to take the decision to turn off this computer, I put it on standby for 10 minutes, and I'm going to walk to the shop by myself to buy something, and then come back, so that you can actually go outside by yourself. You can prove that you can have the willpower to step away from the video game and come back to it, and then also actually do something that's productive. So go buy something that you actually need, that you've been putting off, or something like that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, like baby steps like that. Like even a step further than that could be, because some people find it small talk awkward. Just even trying to go to that same shop like the next day and try and make small talk with the man or the woman behind the counter.
Yeah.
Like some people struggle with the art of socializing, and I've talked about this a lot. And you baby step interactions. You start with small talk, then you might throw in a little bit of a tease or a little bit of a challenge, things like that just slowly build up your confidence in some way. So like you tend to find that winners especially, they have high confidence, and it's because they're willing to go through these tough situations. Like I think society as a whole, just to get really, really deep and philosophical, deep. Society as a whole tries to make life so that you have to avoid pain. Like it makes everyone feel like they should be avoiding pain, but the pain is what makes you grow.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
and if we start promoting that, you need to, stay away from things that make you feel bad, or get rid of these people that challenge you, and just live a comfortable life. It might make you feel a little bit better, and like you're on cloud nine for a little bit. But if you suddenly come back to the real world where you are challenged and you are pushed, you'll just fucking crumble apart like a fucking rich tea biscuit.
Yeah.
Like there'll be no framework, there'll be no confidence there, because you continually eliminated that pain from your life that would have made you grow.
And you're stuck in that bubble of loserness.
The bubble of loserness. So not only are you stuck in the bubble of loserness, you still can't get over the loser wall, like you said,
the
right?
wall of loserness, exactly. So the final point in this video about being a loser is, don't see yourself as a victim, just see yourself as a student of life. This is something that we've talked about before. We've talked about victim and playing the victim and those kinds of things. If you go through the channel, you'll see those videos. But this is something that I've noticed the most, that if people feel or are a loser, 99% of the time is because they see themselves as a victim, or they're playing the victim, saying, I'm fat, and then they'll be like, okay, we'll go to the gym, and they'll be like, well, I can't, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like stupid little things like this. You're playing the victim, and it's not cool, and you're going to be stuck in that bubble. You're going to be stuck behind that wall unless you stop playing the victim.
It's like, I'm not very good at my job, and it's like, well, have you took like maybe some extra classes, learned some extra knowledge? Well, yeah, but and like excuses, and you're like, oh, here we go, someone that just wants to feel sorry for themselves. But the thing is, if you're a loser, you bitch to other losers.
Yeah.
Like actual winners don't bitch. Like they might have the odd session where they're like, dude, like I need some help. But they don't just sit and go, oh, let me tell you how bad my life is.
I'm going to be edgy right now and reference something in real life. So, the Green in Newcastle?
Yeah.
That's full of a bunch of losers, right? Yeah. And these losers, I know because I was one of those ones. So I'm talking about, right? So I feel like I can talk about it. But these losers congregate in the Green in Newcastle. And what you're saying, these losers bitch to other losers. And it's just a big trash pile of negativity and horribleness, and just not a good place, not a good situation that you want to be in. And a lot of these people that I've seen in life and I've came across in life come from that situation. And it kind of does my head in, to be honest.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you're stuck in this position, right, in my opinion, if you're stuck right here and you're a loser, but you want to get to here, and you're just going to do nothing but complain about it and not take the steps and not take the risks and not take the challenges and the pain that life throws at you to get across this wall right here to be successful, or whatever it might be, or even just be normal for that matter, what's even the point? Do you know what I mean? Like, you need to realize that you are a loser, realize that you're not taking the steps and not doing the things to make you and your life better. Take control of it, make the right decisions, take the risks, accept the pain, and jump over this wall and land flat on the other side and overcome it.
Escape the bubble, get over the wall, yeah.
Exactly.
Like it's like
exactly when you land on the floor, you'll be in a bubble, so it won't hurt.
It's like Alcoholics Anonymous. The first step is acknowledge you have a problem.
Yeah.
Like we said earlier about like these delusional losers, they don't know that there's a problem.
Well, we're talking about the two kinds of losers. So for me, I was kind of a loser back then, but I didn't really see myself as a loser. But this is more aimed towards the people that know they're a loser, because them are the ones that usually play the victim the most, I feel. Because they're aware that they suck, they're aware that their lives suck, but they're not willing to do the things necessary to not suck.
Yeah.
And it's like, are you for real? Like, why can't you just do these things? I know it's difficult. I've been there. We've been there. But we know that it's possible because we've already overcame all those things.
Yeah, I mean, losers bitch to other losers. And then, so loser number one goes, let me tell you how much of life fucking hates me. People are mean, this, that, the other, the world's against me. And then loser number two is like, yeah, but let me tell you about how much of a loser I am. And it's like, why? Why are you talking about how much of a loser you are? I don't get it. Like I do get it, because you want someone to feel like sympathetic towards you, and then you can go about
and you
being
kind
loser.
of support each other or whatever.
Yeah, you support the loser mentality. Whereas when someone comes to me with their problems and they have a bit of bitching session, yes, I let them get it off their chest or whatever. But at the same time, I give them useful, practical advice.
Yeah, of course.
I don't tell them how bad my life is. I give them advice, and if they follow it, they get out of the loser mindset, the victim mindset. But it's like, I don't want to, when I talk to someone, I don't want to encourage that victim mentality. I want to get rid of it.
Yeah, I know, like, so there's a lot of times in the past that I've had conversations with people that may be a loser or see themselves as a loser, and they'll say like, oh, this and that. And I'm just sat there thinking, are they expecting me to kind of be sympathetic here? Because realistically, I'm a brutally honest person anyways, and I'll most likely turn to them and say, this is what you're doing wrong, this is the problem, go sort it out, I'm not feeling sorry for you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think that's what a lot of these people need. They just need kind of shaking and go like...
So Tony Robbins has this really good saying where he says that life happens for you, not to you. So most victims think that life's happening to them. That, you know, they're at the whim of life, like, oh, God in the sky hates me, this is going
like,
on for me.
My car broke down, or my girlfriend broke up with me, or, you know what I mean?
And although they are painful times, and
yeah, they are, of course.
At the same time, you have to think, well, if it's happening for me, there's a reason for it, and that
everything traces back to you, and if you acknowledge that and take control of that, everything else is a whole lot easier and a whole lot less painful, essentially.
Yeah. You can't control what happens in your life, but you can control how you respond to it.
Yeah.
And most people, unfortunately, take the victim path where they feel like they're wronged, like it's not supposed to happen to them, and it's just, it doesn't get them anywhere, because all they do is like feel sorry for themselves, and they bitch to someone, that person encourages them, then they bitch some more, and they feel like a victim, and it's a never-ending cycle.
It is, it's true.
That needs to be broken.
And if you can't break it, then you're a loser.
Loser. Okay, just to summarize really quickly before we bounce off this video on how not to be a fucking loser. Point number one, be decisive, make commitments, and know that you are 100% in charge of your fucking life. Number two, have personal standards, know your values, and stick to them, because people will respect you a hell of a lot more. Number three, do things that make you feel uncomfortable and will grow your confidence, because it will help you out massively. And finally, number four, don't play the victim. Realize that you're a winner and you just can't be at the whim of life. Life is happening for you, not to you.
Alright guys, that's it for us. Be sure to check out the website link below, thoughtsinmotion.co.uk. We have Instagram, which will be below, and also subscribe to the channel, of course, and make sure you click that bell so you can get notifications every single time we upload a video. And we'll see you next week in next week's video.
Peace.